Welcome to The Therapy Spot, the podcast where real conversations meet real impact. Hosted by Scott and Shazara Melody, two therapists bringing heartfelt, relatable, and therapeutic discussions that touch our lives and uplift our community. We're proud to be sponsored by an incredible network of organizations that share our mission to empower and inspire. Mr. Sophisticated, a business entrepreneur. Raymond from Fifth Avenue, the host of The Breakfast Blues Show. Carson Gracie Warriors, a renowned MMA school in Brent. And VIP, Violence Intervention Project, transforming lives and building safer communities in Hammersmith. Together with our sponsors, we're creating a space where every conversation sparks change, every voice is heard, and every episode inspires growth. Lock in as we feel, heal, and grow together. The Therapy Spot, healing our community one episode at a time. Welcome to The Therapy Spot. We are so blessed to be back for our third episode on the relationship segment. We are joined by my co-host Scotty, and he's going to introduce our guests that have come back to grace us with their presence once again.
Brilliant. Thank you, Shaz. Welcome to The Therapy Spot. I think some of you guys have watched what we've done before, but our guests here have given up their time today and their experience. They're all blessed in their field that they endeavour to do, and we're very privileged to have them here sharing conversation with us. So on my right hand side, I've got Ryan. Ryan, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing at the moment.
Hi everyone, my name is Ryan. I'm a psychotherapist, I'm an author. I've also got a YouTube platform where I give the youth and people a chance to express themselves. And yeah, I'm just expanding in my field, man. I'm just happy to be here, and yeah, that's me.
Thank you. And I know you got a copy of your book there.
Yeah.
So if we can get a quick flash for the camera so that people can see it.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The book's called If Only You Knew.
Okay.
It's on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And just briefly, it just takes you through chapters of my life to where I am now. So there's a lot of wisdom, and it's personal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They say that there's a book inside everyone. So well done for getting your book out.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And then to my right, I've got. I was watching your story the other day about your hair journey. I was amazed. But anyway, Angela, tell us who you are and what you're doing, and a little bit more.
Hi, I'm Angela. I'm a relationship coach. I started off being a master NLP practitioner. NLP, the study of mind, emotions, and behaviors. And that naturally brought me to thinking about relationships because I found myself talking to people more and more about relationships. And so I decided to retrain as a relationship coach about 5 years ago or so.
Okay.
I'm also an author at the end stages of finishing my book, and that's about intuitive dating.
Okay.
Because I'm very much about using your gut to tell you where you are and what you should be doing.
Okay.
Love that.
So that's me.
Intuitive dating. So that's more being in tune with what your stomach is saying to you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm going to dig a little bit more into that.
Sure.
I want to hear about that.
100, I want to hear about that. That sounds interesting. And I have the wonderful Keely that's sitting next to me, very dear friend of mine, therapist. Keely, tell them a little bit about yourself and what you're doing now and how you work with people.
So I'm a psychotherapist. I help people pleasers who are in high conflict relationships with narcissists. I help them to understand the dynamics at interplay and why, despite all their reading, all their studying, all their Googling and ChatGPTing, they're still in it and can't break free. Mm-hmm. In addition, I'm a business psychotherapist. I work with busy business owners who are struggling with loneliness, self-sabotage, and high conflict relationships.
Okay. Thank you. You mentioned that word narcissism or narcissist. And there's so much stuff out there around narcissism. And I think in one of our previous shows, we said we was going to dig into it a little bit. And I know this is your area of specialism because I follow you on social media. And by the way, we can get all of these guys' social media handles on the YouTube and our social media, Instagram and TikTok account. So I think before we dig into relationships, I saw a post yesterday where someone was talking about their relationship and it broke down, but then they started to call the other person a narcissist, and they was together for like 5 years. And through the 5 years that they was together, they were posting beautiful pictures on social media, all that good stuff. Relationship done, and all of a sudden now,
Narcissist.
this geezer is the biggest narcissist in the world. So can we just spend a little bit, like 5-10 minutes? And I know it's a more in-depth. What is a narcissist?
I think, firstly, when I say what I do, people always ask me about what's a narcissist. I help people who perceive that they're dealing with one. So my focus is always on the people pleasers, the people who struggle to say no and who have a range of red flag behaviors that is problematic for them when they interact with a narcissist. For example, we go above and beyond, we struggle to say no, and most importantly, we put others on pedestals. And when you interact with a narcissistic individual, they need to be idolized. They're never wrong. They shift blame, and they need total adoration. And so what you have is a mashup mix of the people pleaser with someone who's highly selfish. And the people pleaser gets to the point, or a break point, where often they seek my help, because despite the research, it's not working and they're still in it. And it's not just a partner. It is a mother, a father, a boss, a sister, a friend.
Yeah.
So it impacts on people in a plethora of ways. And when you combine that with also, collective psychology, people from families where there's hierarchy and they have to be able to navigate collective psychology. Collective psychology is, it's not about individualism. So this creates a real challenge for someone who is highly agreeable, conflict avoidant, and whose main aim, and for some reason they've interpreted that it's their duty to keep people happy, and they do so at their own expense.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the people pleaser, but the narcissistic trope or that's been narrative that's been given around, like, he's a narcissist. And so much people are throwing, well, she's a narcissist. What are some of the traits from your kind of work that you would say narcissistic people have? Like you talked about, they're really highly selfish, self-centered. They love the focus for attention to always be on them. In a relationship, it's never about us, it's about my needs first. And if you're someone that's highly empathic, you might be drawn to someone that's like that, and it's not a good look.
A lot of the empaths have what I often called savior complex. They have a martyrdom complex. They have a desire to fix people, and doing so, they mash up themselves.
Okay.
So it's my ambition as ever to help them understand the dynamics at interplay, so they make a choice. Like, I'm not here to tell you to leave. I'm not here to tell you to stay. I'm just going to hold up the mirror so you can see the dynamics at interplay, but also to link that to your childhood wounds.
Okay.
Your need for love, and why you're forever chasing and never catch the carrot.
Okay. It's really great that you said that about your childhood, because before we started, we was having an off-camera conversation, and we was talking about attachment theory, about how your early attachments can shape how you view and navigate life later on in terms of your personality style. Do you have like an avoidant type in relationships? Do you have a secure attachment when you're in relationships? And people's upbringing can have a real impact on their personality. And when I think about narcissism, is narcissism a way that people that went through trauma when they're in their early days, a way to protect themselves, to protect their heart, to protect how they see themselves?
Well, I view humans humans have really fascinating ways of surviving, and just as being an empath, you can always link that down to a survival instinct that we learned that being kind had currency and got us validation. And so that personality becomes more entrenched. It's a kind of nature-nurture debate. And also narcissism, you know, from a survival aspect, also has incredible benefits for the individual. So ultimately, so much of it is about trauma. And if you can understand trauma, yeah, I've worked in the scrub, so I've worked with a lot of people who've done heinous crimes as well. So when you understand it from a kind of human survival instinct, it makes sense. Doesn't mean we justify abhorrent behavior, but it begins to give clarity. But like I said, empaths also have to understand their trauma. They often have the notion that they can fix people, they fall in love with potential, and they're forever living in a hopeless hope that one day, if I can just do enough, be enough, have enough, that the miracle will occur and they will become the person in my mind's eye that I imagine them to be.
Yeah.
And it's a space that you can't reach. It's a space that you can't reach.
Yes, but then when they don't, the ego is then damaged because I failed. So you've also got the empath's ego at interplay, and they're often not conscious. They think they're egoless. And so we have to, you know, well, one endeavors to school, but.
Thank you.
And I like what you said around actually what your role is, what our role is as therapists, as coaches, is not to tell people to do stuff. It's to almost hold up that mirror, that kind of image that you kind of showed, for them to look at themselves, to look and understand themselves and understand their part in their current situation, and for them to come to their decisions. Because as therapists, we believe that people have the answers to their problems, but sometimes they just need someone to help them process and think about what's going on in their thought process. So like one of the things that I highlight at the therapy spot, therapy is not bad, guys. It's really good. Get yourself a therapist, you know, like have your therapist on speed dial. You might not need them every week, but people need that space to actually have their person that can help them process. Because narcissism is such a massive...
And also, if you've done therapy before and you think, okay, yeah, therapy isn't for me, you may have just had the wrong person that you didn't connect
100%.
with. Because there are sometimes people have gone through therapy and they've got a therapist that there's no kind of relational connection to the person, and you just write off therapy completely. But actually, sometimes you have to go on a hunt for someone that you do connect with, for someone that you feel you can identify with and work with. So yeah, just don't write it off. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's going to work for everybody. Some people may enjoy group spaces rather than a one-to-one space. So find what works for you, but don't just write it off because of one experience with one person that just wasn't the right fit for you. Yeah.
Well, what we're doing here today is kind of showing that actually
Yeah.
you've got therapists that come from all walks of
All
life.
walks of life.
You've got different styles.
And we have all different people that come into the therapy room. I was telling Ryan before, the people that I wanted to work with and the clients that I have are looking very different. Do you know what I
You want to
mean?
work with?
I wanted to specifically work with my community and specifically with young males that have been traumatized by gang violence, grief in terms of losing friends and family to knife crime and things like that, and providing that therapeutic support to deal with the grief of losing someone and losing someone traumatically. That's who I wanted to work with, because I work in obviously secondary schools and I see a lot of teenagers that go through that, but then going into adulthood, once they're 16 and they leave school, it's like, where do they go and how, who, they can't come to Miss Smith's office anymore. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of providing that next layer of support in their pre-adult stage where they can have someone to talk to. But the people that I get in the therapy room are very different. But for some reason, they found that connection and I work with them anyway and I'm enjoying it. But yeah, it's just finding the people, the counsellor or the therapist that you connect with. And they don't have to look like you, but sometimes you do have to shop around a little bit.
And this, no,
Yeah, I was going to say, I think many people have a misconception of what therapy is.
Yeah.
And then I think for many young people in general, they it's the trust. It's the trust. They feel like, are my secrets safe enough? Is this safe? Safe enough for my secrets? And you were saying that it doesn't really matter what a therapist looks like, but another thing you said was the importance of the relationship, because that's what it's about, the relationship between you and your therapist. So yeah.
Yeah, the relationship. When I was training, there was a book that I can't remember the author's name, but it was called "The Relationship is the Therapy." So the relationship that you build with your clients is really important. So that's why I think we do this kind of therapy spot, and that's why I started to think a little bit about narcissism, because there's so much stuff around narcissism in the world on social media. As Keely was saying, people are in difficult relationships. They then go online. There's just so much misinformation. Like they do so much reading about. They almost become narcissist experts, but they're not. And then it just becomes the word that's bandied around. Exactly. And I suppose it leads nicely into what we're talking about, which is relationships in our community. And I think we touched on some of the things around the relationships, around masculinity, around empathy for men in relationships, around quote unquote alpha women, what they are like in relationships, the current narrative, because there seems to be this kind of conflict now between men and women. It's like actually men are actually saying they don't want to date people from their community because there's this dominance, this aggressiveness. Is that something that's being spewed by social media? Is it their own lived experience? So those are the things that kind of we're going to chop it up today, and that's where I wanted to bring us.
I think even on the way here, I was watching a podcast, and it was black men and women, and one of the men was saying that he feels that black women don't like black men, and instantly the women were like, absolutely not, it's you lot that don't like us. And it just turned into this war on set, and I was watching it, I was just like, we're not even hearing each other here to understand what is going on in terms of, it's not about not liking each other, but what's the pain behind this, what's causing the issue behind this, where relationships are just not working and things are breaking down.
There's certainly a disconnect.
Yeah.
There's certainly I mean, that is a prime example.
Yeah.
Black men are saying our women don't like us, and women are saying our men don't like us. Where does this come from?
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't, I'm not understanding. And like I was saying earlier, has it always been this way, or has it been this way for a long time, but we didn't know about it? But now because of social media, everything's out there, everything's online. People are just able to say whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know, is that why we're hearing more about it, or has it been there?
Yeah,
I'm just not sure.
I think in my personal opinion, things have changed over time in terms of women being more vocal